Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lilkatz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable right here at Star Nation's organization's main fan page on Facebook. Today's Wednesday, February 12th, and I'm so good, so happy. Can't talk today to be here with all of you. We are doing the weekly divination card draw for the group today. And what this means is that we have a spiritual conversation about the cards. And do you love spiritual conversations? I do. Conversations about spirit, definitely. And so we get to have some time together. And the card intention draw has everything to do with asking my spiritual team to show me what is the energy that's most important for us to know about today, that or this week, that will help us to have more insight to our spiritual growth, to those events that are happening in our lives, right? And it's for clarity, really. About there. And so that's what the conversation is going to be about today. So you are watching the Spiritual Roundtable, and I'm your host, Neshi Lilkatz, for those of you who might not know me. I'm going to pause here just for a second because I promised a couple people that I would send them the link to the live stream so that they'll be able to join us if they want to. So hang on just a second, and I will get those sent over. There we go. There. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it over to our private groups too, just to remind the peeps that I'm live streaming, and just to please join us. The closed groups that I'm sending it to is one of them is our academy, Star Nations Academy. And that particular group is our community members that are interested in the classes that are offered. But more than that is that we have conversations in there about different books, different classes that we've taken, insights that we've gained. And so I'm going to make sure that they get this particular live stream as well. There. See, it doesn't take long. There. Now, here we go. Good. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to send it over to my news stream. Rats. I got to do that too. I was going to do that before the show, and I totally spaced it out. So I'm just going to send it over to my friends. There we go. There. I usually try to have those all done before we actually get started because I don't want to take a whole lot of time away from the conversation once we get started, right? So welcome everybody, all those that are in the live chat. Thank you for being with me today. And those that are watching by the recorded video, thank you so much for making time for us in your busy day to also watch. So for those that are may not know, this is the deck that we're using currently. It's a brand new deck. It's called Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. And they're illustrated by Lewis Dyer. Yeah, Lewis Dyer. Both are from the UK, New Zealand to be exact. And so I think it's New Zealand. I don't think it's Australia. Let me double check. Just want to make sure I get giving you the right information. South Wales, Australia. So I just want to make sure. That is the author, Anna Stark. She is from New South Wales, Australia. And so that tells us that the perspective of her information that's coming from spirit, right, coming through her filters, is coming through a different perspective than we might be used to here in the States, most certainly in the upper Midwest where I'm from. Okay. And so it'll be interesting, right? Now, we've been using this deck since December. And it was this is a brand new deck. I think it was published in September of 2019. And so, yeah, I love the illustrations in this one too. Sacred Spirit reading cards. Let's see. It's interesting. Interesting. So I'm going to get right to it. Okay. The very first card that showed up for us today is this one. Living light energy. Living light energy. And it says, see the beauty in life. Spend time in nature. Yeah. And if you take a look, this is a tree. And it's interesting that below the tree, at first, when I first looked at it, I thought it was like a cityscape that had maybe stars or lightning or something like that. And I suppose it could still be a cityscape, but it also could be stone people, right? Underneath. And the tree is all lit up. Living light energy. And I had to say, what is that? Right? Because I had never heard that phrase before. I don't know about you, but I hadn't. And so, living light energy. And as I was looking at the card and bringing in the energy of it, I realized that it was a tree that was lit up, right? And so it kind of reminded me of I was on a weekend getaway with friends with my sisters when the group was I wasn't even the sisters yet. It was a group of ladies that, we'd done a lot of spiritual work together and that sort of thing. It was Tammy and Teresa and Carol was there, and we were at Tammy's lake house. And of course, whenever you get together with friends, it was a kind of a late night, right? That first night when we were there. And where I was sleeping, in the room that I was sleeping in, I could, next to my bed, just above my bed, was a window. And I could see the white pines alongside the house. And I remember getting woken up, right? Like someone or something was near me. And so I woke up and I looked out the window because there wasn't any blinds or anything, no curtains on the window. And I remember looking out and looking up at the trees. And I could see their auric field, and I could see the energy running both down through the tree and also up out through the tree, so up into the sky, right? And I remember laying there for a long time thinking, this is communication, right? The tree is communicating. What's it communicating to spirit, to the stars? And so when I saw the picture on the card, I was thinking, okay, this is all about energy that is always alive. It has an essence, right? Because everything has a spirit. That's how we believe, at least in my family, right? A Native American belief, but I'm taking it directly from my family because there's lots of different ways of believing, right? And so to be able to see the energy within a being of any kind, and there are some people how they bring in spiritual information, right? Can actually see this. Not all of us can, which is okay. Some of us hear the frequency. Some of us feel the frequency. Some of us see it, right? And so, for those who have the clairvoyant, the clear sight, that they can actually see the energy, the light energy that is around an object, a being, right? And so that's what this first card is about. And so it's going to be really interesting how um, we can take in that information and see what does it mean for us today, for this week, right? So I'm going to, well, hello, Rochelle. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And Rochelle Ashley's here too. Oh my goodness. She says, too cold for the horses and riders this Wednesday, so the opportunity to tune in. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I was thinking about you the other day, how things are going out there out in the West for you. Yeah, so I'm glad you're here. And Rochelle says, hello, Neshi. The spell check on my tablet screwed up the. I was wondering what that meant. I thought maybe you learned a new word from a different language or something. But I'm so glad you ladies are here. So let me ask you this question. Whether you see, sense, feel, hear, right? The energy of another being. Um, because we all have that creator spark, that God spark within us, right? And as we are spiritual beings, we have our subtle bodies, energy bodies, our auric field that many of us can see or sense, right? And so what we're feeling is the energy, what we're seeing around those other beings are their signature, their frequency, their light. And doesn't this bring another layer of what it means to for light language, right? Because we're used to being or taking in light language as symbols and that sort of thing, right? But this is also a light language, right? I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you guys can see it. And it reminds me of the Axis Mundi too, right? The world tree. And when we're talking about that communication, that energy exchange within the spirit and back to the creator, up to the stars, right? For the trees, they say that their branches are the antenna for that, right? For that communication, just as much as their root system is in down into Grandmother Earth and bringing in that information from her, right? And it's also said that their root system is as deep and as wide as their branch system above, which brings in that axiom, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. And so when we're looking at living light energy, when we're sensing it, we're really taking in the entire being. We may not have words for it, the vocabulary, right, to describe it, but we certainly are sensing it. So here's what the author has to say about this. She says, understanding that everything is energy, the air we breathe, the elements, emotions, sound, animals, people, our thoughts, all of this is energy. Living light energy is positively charged and full of physical life, radiating its permanence throughout the universe. Cosmic and earthly energy is all living light energy as it stems from the celestial light source. All of creation, the cosmic Big Bang, and its remnants make up the wonderful and beautiful collective of living light energy. It is pure energy that vibrates at its original blueprint. at its original blueprint. I think that's a really important sentence. While energy is transformed, transmuted, and recycled across time, its living light energy hums in synchronicity with the universal planning. All energy pulses its divine signature. I like that. All energies, all energy pulses its divine signature. Because each one of us, right? When I say us, I mean the royal us. I'm including everybody, all of our relatives, including us, right? Is that we all have a very unique vibration, a very unique signature that the creator recognizes us by, right? And in a Native American sense, and depending on which tribal belief system it is, many of us believe that our native name, when it's said in the native language, which is a light language, right? That is how spirit, how the creator recognizes us. That's one of the importance of our native name, our spirit name, right? And so when I was looking at this card and I was bringing in that, connecting the dots, so to speak, um, is that we are projecting, sending out, if you will, our signature long before a mental mind is saying, oh, yeah, that's what that is. So a lot of times our signature, our frequency, our spirit arrives at a place before our physical body does. Do you believe that? Because sometimes, um, sometimes we're like when you're on a trip, whether it's a business trip or maybe you're on a road trip, right? And it's time to go home. And maybe you've been away from home for a few days. So all of your being, include all of your bodies, your mental, your emotional, right? Your physical, your spiritual, all of your bodies are all attending to, yay, I'm going home. I can't wait to go home. How long is it going to take me to get home? And so we're a whole focus is being in that place, right? So much so that maybe we have family or pets that actually sense us arriving long before our physical body does. Have you ever had that happen? I have. When you see, like with George, right? Our puppy, he knows what time Paul comes home. And yeah, Paul sometimes varies it between an hour, hour and a half or so. But George knows when Paul's going to be coming driving up the driveway. He sits and waits for him, right? I had one of my nieces when they were really, really little, a toddler age, would see people coming through the door, like her dad, my brother, coming in from work, long before he was even there. Why? Because she was seeing his energy frequency coming home because his thoughts were there, right? I find that fascinating. I don't know about you guys, but I find it fascinating that we actually show up places long before our physical body does, right? And so that's our unique signature, our unique vibration in the universe, right? And so whenever we do our healing work, right, our healing those traumas that we've experienced, we get closer and closer to our original frequency, our original signature that we came in with. And so that one sentence where where she said, it is pure energy that vibrates at its original blueprint, your original blueprint, your original frequency. I know, I love this. I do. All right. So we're going to show this picture or the card again for those that are just arriving. It's called Living Light Energy. See the beauty in life. Spend time in nature. The author says that opening yourself to receive living light energy requires only an open heart that wishes to be balanced and harmonized with the universal flow and the divine source of all that is. Whole and complete, the energy now awaits you to integrate and unify your heart into an all-loving energy. Okay, so here's the thing, is that the universe's energy, creator energy, right, is already at the frequency of love. There's nothing that we have to do to change it. There's nothing we have to do to transmute it. It's already at the frequency of love. What we have to do is turn our attention to it because it's already flowing through us and is all the way around us, right? What we have to do is be open to it and recognize that it's there. So every time we take in a breath, every time we exhale, we are breathing in love and we're exhaling and transmuting our thoughts that may be less than love, right? They're consciously, you can transmute that into love as it's going back out into the universe, right? Even if you don't do that, it's already being changed back into love by spirit. So it's kind of like a recycling, right? Yeah. You know, Polly Jo uses part of this in her meditations, right? In her healing meditations. It's near the end. It's where she has us send our energy that we are releasing and letting go of down into Grandmother Earth, where Grandmother Earth will transform it for us, right? It's kind of like composting in a way. Yeah. And so sometimes as two-leggeds, I think we make things more difficult, more complicated than they need to be. And so, and it also goes back to what is your belief system, right? How do you believe this to be? I happen to agree that the universe is already perfect, is already at the frequency of love. We just have to take it in, be willing and open to bring it in, right? So those of you that have studied with me for activating your Merkaba, the journey to the remembering, awakening, the illuminated heart, whichever class you took with me, and also doing the unity breath meditation, that's all connected to this. Because we turn our attention to what's called the crystalline tube, the pranic tube, right? And we are bringing in universal energy down through the top of the tube, which is sitting at your crown chakra, coming down, and it's also coming up through the crystalline tube, through the root chakra. And it circulates through us. So basically, it's turning our attention to it and sensing it. We're already being immersed in the frequency of love. How do you feel about that? You know, if you turn your attention to it right now and just sensing, what is it feeling like as it moves through you, right? And so anytime that we are consciously being aware of our thoughts, catching ourselves, right? Catching ourselves in a negative thought or a less than high vibrational thought, because we're human, it happens, right? And we take that and we say, oh, delete that thought and replace it with, right? really all we have to do is turn our attentions to the love and asking spirit to transmute that into love, because that's the exact same thing. Don't you find that fascinating? I do. Holy smokes. Hey, Minnie's here. Hello, Minnie. She says, I just on for a few minutes before I go visit my. Oh my gosh, the baby. Give that baby a big kiss for me, a big hug. He's such a cutie. And Jackie's here too. Hi, Jackie. Good to have you here. Oh my gosh, Jen is here too. Good morning to you, Jen. I'm glad you're here. Rochelle says, very important during these chaotic times using your transforming energy. Yes, because the frequency of love is already there, right? It's I kind of coexisting, because you also have to remember that we are on a planet, residing on a planet that was designed for duality. That's what we have right now, and learning, remembering how to have that unified field, right? Yeah. And the best way to get to that unified field is through love, is to raise your vibration to love. And so it's already there around us, it's already flowing through us. What we have to do is consciously do it, right? Consciously make that shift. And that, to me, that is a lot of what our soul is here to remember, and how to master that in the physical world. Because, Rochelle, you're right. It's like really chaotic out there, and less than the frequency of love that is being in behavior and in thought, right? So as we are consciously aware of that, we can shift the energy within us and around us consciously, and turning our attention to the love frequency that's already there. See, that's what I meant about, and being a two-legged, sometimes we just complicate things too much. All right, so here's the rest of the message from the author. She says, right now, see the beauty in life. The simplicity of nature and the divine elegance will encourage you to reset your mind in the present moment. All energy is recycled. Know that now you are changing your attitude in life. Soon to emerge from the deep slumber of transformation, surround yourself with living energy such as plants, crystals, minerals to support your light body through this powerful transition. The affirmation is, I integrate living light energy within my heart, mind, and soul. I am one. I'm going to say that affirmation again because I think it's pretty good. Okay. I integrate living light energy within my heart, mind, and soul. I am one. Yeah. So every time we feel or think, that life is, life out there is just horrible. Life out there is that chaos. Life out there is, I don't even want to be a part of that, right? Yeah, we can't separate ourselves from our relatives, but we can certainly be consciously aware of our thoughts and our behavior, and remembering that we come from love, and that we have love flowing through us all the time. And so we can shift our own thoughts and our own behavior, and changing the energy field around us. And if enough of us do that, then yeah, we're going to have a change, a transmutation at the frequency of love, right? And all we have to do is just live it, right? We got to take care of our own vibration. We have to mind our own vibration, right? I like that. I really do. It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder. And it's also for those people who maybe have not looked at it from that perspective, is to be able to take it in and see how that fits in your own worldview, your own beliefs, right? Because remember, we're much more alike than we are different. We really are at the very core. Yeah. And even those people that kind of, rub you the wrong way, cause you angst, you might not even personally know that person. All you get is what you see on the television or read in a blog or something like that, right? Now, I'm not saying we should, ignore their behavior, not to put our head in the sand and act like it's not there. All I'm saying is that we can shift the energy within us and around us so that we are living closer and closer to our original blueprint, which is love, right? I like it. I like it a lot. Hmm. All right. Second card. Second card. Oh, I forgot to tell you that first card, this card is number 25 in the deck. And so that's a 7, right? And that is about spirit. Yeah. All right. Here's the second card. It's called Soul Fragments. It says balance will be restored. Reclaim your inner power. Look at that. Very interesting image, isn't it? It almost looks like fire at the head. For those who study Celtic, indigenous, right? Um, Tom Rowan? No, Cohen. Fire in the head. That's about shamanism from a Celtic point of view. And at first, that's what this card reminded me of. Fire in the head. But if you take a look, right, at the center of his chest, a flow of energy. I mean, you can't tell, is it lighting up from the inside out or is that energy flowing into him? Right? Soul fragments. Balance will be restored. And even with at the head, when it looks like fire, but if you look at it even closer, sometimes it even looks like a tree. I'll show it to you again. Right? Doesn't it even kind of look like a tree? Branches. Soul fragments. Now the thing is that our soul, immortal, right? That depending on a traumatic experience, there are times when we may have a soul fracture that leaves us a part of our soul in that traumatic experience, right? And in the shamanic world, it'd be called a soul retrieval, right? Is to go out and to bring that soul, that fragment back to the person so that they feel more whole. And that kind of healing work is important and very supportive of other healing work. For instance, if you are also in a therapy of some sort, a soul retrieval would be helpful so that when you're in therapy, that you are actually reaching all aspects of yourself to heal, right? That you're completely present. That's probably the more extreme, okay? And and the thing is that some people do experience very extreme trauma and drama in their life, um, and so they fracture, right? And so there's a way to bring it all back together because it's meant to be whole, and we have the ability to do that. Whether you need a practitioner of sorts to help you with that, but you can also do it on your own. I don't know if you knew you could do that. Because remember, we have love flowing through us, right? There is, and I've used this in meditations with you guys before, the guided meditations, and that is to, whether you say it quietly to yourself or you can go outside and yell it if you want to, and that is to say your birth name 4 times, okay? And that really is intentionally calling all aspects of yourself back to you in the present moment. Now, here's the thing is that sometimes it's intentional and unintentional that we leave a part of ourselves in an experience. Okay. So some of us, when we've been on a trip, okay, and we're visiting places, um, maybe there was an experience at a sacred site, or maybe with a relative or something like that, and it affected us so much that we're in that memory of it for a long time. And so we tell a lot of people about it and we're reliving it all the time. There's a part of us that is still in that past experience. Okay. Or there's some of us who project over into the future, so much so that we're living that experience. And so there's this stretching of ourselves into different dimensions, if you will. Okay, different realms. And some people would see that as a fracture or a fragment of ourselves being in those different places, right? How many people, and you can let me know in the comments, okay? How many people sometimes feel like they're not quite all present, right? I'll give you an example. When a few years ago, when the water protection situation was happening in North Dakota, right? It was it woke a lot of people up, the whole world, okay? And it was Native American led, youth led. Women were definitely much involved with it. I wanted to be there so badly. I wanted to be on those marches. I wanted to be there, right? And I couldn't. I'm taking care of mom. I have a business to run, that kind of thing. I wanted to be there so badly that the only thing that wasn't there was my physical self. Yeah. And so I would find myself daydreaming a lot about it. I would find myself searching for articles and videos and all kinds of stuff about it, right? So much of me was over there that in the present, I was absent minded because I wasn't here. I wasn't here. I was forgetting all kinds of things, right? Yep. Yeah. And getting hurt. Nothing major, but still, getting slamming my hand in a drawer, finger, not paying attention when I'm chopping vegetables and nicked myself, those kinds of things, because I wasn't all here. There was a part of me, a good portion of me, over in a state I'd never been to before, in a place I'd never been to before, but I wanted to be there. How many people have experienced that? Right? That can be considered fragment of your soul. Okay, I'm going to get caught up with you guys in the chat here. Oh, I think I am. Oh, Rochelle is saying most of the time. Most of the time. All right. Move this over here. Got to move. Something on my computer was blocking something I couldn't see. All right. So that's interesting, isn't it? So when we're talking about the soul fragments, okay, here's what the author has to say about it. She says the life of our soul is infinite, and while aspects of ourself is never truly lost, they can separate through times of trauma, grief, separation, loss, or refusing to deal with an issue. The psyche's self-preservation causes this illusionary disconnection, as if it chooses to distance itself from the situation in question. These fragments are merely in places our consciousness has chosen to forget, to spare the emotional turmoil from an intensive emotional experience. Right? Recalling these fragments with love, healing, and understanding allows the soul to continue moving forward without the individual feeling stuck in the past or unable to get over an issue or an event. Empowering and liberating retrieval is recommended if you feel you are missing parts of yourself. Right? And depending on the intensity, right, of the trauma, depending on that, you may need some assistance. You may be able to do it on your own. You may be able to be in meditation and ask your spiritual team to show you how, or to bring all of you back, right, to the present moment. You can go outside and call your name. You can do it yourself. You can intentionally, consciously bring your thoughts to the present moment, right? Because we all do it. Throughout the day, we all do this. We are so involved in different aspects of our life and what we're here to do, whether it's your 9 to 5, or for me, it's taking care of an elder, all kinds of things, right? That sometimes mentally, we're so involved with a situation that we don't see what's going on around us. Yeah. So we all do it. We all do it. So, Orchun Franklin, she's also one of our show hosts here, and she writes for us too, for the magazine. And many of her meditations, she will say something like, being here, being present, calling yourself back to your body, right? That's what she's talking about. And so whenever we're doing any kind of meditations, when you're listening to them guided or you're doing your own, and we've been trained in how to do our meditations, that sort of thing, and we want ourselves to be present. That's what we're doing, is we're calling ourselves back. All aspects of myself here now, right? Yeah. Hey, Karen's here too. Karen's here. Hello, Karen. She says, I've done a soul retrieval, highly recommended. My trauma from childhood was a constant repeat. Currently, I'm in a shamanic group, walking the wheel, doing major healing. Good for you. And you're so right. The soul retrieval can be so helpful, so helpful. When you are going through a soul retrieval, it's encouraged that you have somebody there with you from your family, from your community, right? Somebody to go with you so that when the soul retrieval is at a conclusion and you're coming back to the present moment, right? Is that there's somebody there to welcome you home because that part of you that is retrieved may not have been present for a really long time. And so it's a comfort to have somebody there to give you a hug and say, welcome home. I'm so glad you're back. Right. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. So thank you, Karen, for sharing that. I love that. Rochelle Ashley is saying it's also necessary to recognize when an experience of fragment is not your experience, but the experience of an ancestor. Oh, yeah. And therefore needs to be healed and dealt with so it doesn't continue to be a barrier to you here. Here and whole. Yes, absolutely. Good point, Rochelle. Because our own healing affects not just ourselves, but 7 generations back, our ancestors, and 7 generations forward, our descendants, right? So our own healing is no small thing. We're affecting so much around us. And so we literally are breaking a cycle many times that has been carried generation to generation, right? And so we become the disruptors, the healers in that, right? And when we do that, our descendants, our descendants, they don't even have the dreamlike situation with it. They might not even have the recall of it because we disrupted that part. And so they don't have to go back and heal that because it's already done, right? And so thank you, Rochelle, for that reminder. Definitely so. Definitely so. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to read just the last piece of this. All right. So right now, your soul needs to reclaim a part of its missing memory. Past trauma that is being held within you is crying out to be healed. Through recollection, you will be able to see the truth in the situation for what it is. Fear-based experiences need to be addressed now. Past life regression could be beneficial to create understandings of phobias, deep-seated fears, or subconscious patterns that have previously controlled areas of your life. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your power. The affirmation is, I am the master of my own mind. I am ready to move on. I am the master of my own mind. I'm ready to move on. And we're heading into a time that we can really tap into that energy to help with this. And that's called a Mercury retrograde, right? So what we know about Mercury retrograde is it has the energy of, it's a good thing to redo things during a Mercury retrograde, right? So Julie Hedges, another one of our show hosts and writers, she reminds us is it's a time to use the RE words. Remember, in this situation, recollection, reclaiming, redoing, right? So if you've been putting off an aspect of healing, whether it's something from the past, a past life, or more recent life, this one, and you're going like this, I don't want to see it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to do it. It's too painful. It's too emotionally painful. Spirit's encouraging us to do the healing, to take a look at that situation, to reclaim ourselves, right? To recollect ourselves, to pull in, bring to us those fragments of ourselves so that we feel more whole. Okay. Now remember, the second card drawn, it always supports the first card. And so Spirit is encouraging us to do that kind of healing. Tap into the energy that's going to be around the corner. Mercury retrograde starts on February 17th and it goes until March 10th. Right? So if you have something that you need to address, now's a good time to do it. Now's a good time. And call in your spiritual team. Ask them for assistance. Ask them for clarification. Tell them that this is my intention. This is what I want to do. Please bring to me all the resources that I need for this so I can do this as gracefully as I can. Right? And in those resources, you can mean everything to support you, from child care, pet care, elder care. You can, it'll cover the finances for it to pay if you need a healer to come in to help you, the finances to pay for it, the time frame to be able to do it, because maybe you don't need just the day that you're going to do the healing, but maybe you need to take a day or two off from work so that you can rest, so that you can sleep in or have some quiet time, right? So anything that you need as a resource for that to be brought to you so you can address it, right? All right. So Jen is saying, I've done soul retrieval. And yes, support would have been good for sure. We're becoming whole. Yes. Yes. And I think that Spirit is encouraging us, showing us the energy around this for this week so that we can make the decision, conscious decision to say, okay, I'm going to heal this. Because remember, we're in a brand new year, 2020, starting a brand new decade. And we're giving the opportunity to maybe tie up some loose ends, right? So that you can really step into um, the energy that you want to create for your life, right? Okay, and Jen is adding that we really are magical beings. I have recently been able to see the artificial grid that it's around the Earth. It's a honeycomb shaped in 2D, and stars are connected to it. Looking deeper, it is 3D, like blocks, holographic, interesting times. Isn't it, though? I'm going to show you that picture again about the soul fragments. Oh, no. It was the first one. This is the first card that was drawn for, maybe you didn't see it, Jen. This is the first card, right? Living light energy. Now, if you take a closer look at it, at first, when I first saw the card, I thought maybe that was a cityscape, tall buildings, right? And then when I took another look at it, I thought, oh, those could be stone people, right? But it could be the 3D of a grid. Very interesting, right? Okay, so here we go. We know that when we have the cards, that we can ask our spiritual team to assist us in bringing in an optimal amount of the message, the information that's coming through the cards for us individually. Okay. And so what we found to be very helpful is to turn your attention to your grounding, intend to be grounded, right? Calling your entire team to you. They're always here. It's just turning your attention to them and asking them to come close and to help you to bring in as much as of the information that's optimal for you. Okay. Okay. And so I'm going to show the two cards together. So here we go. Here are the two cards. Living light energy, seeing the beauty in life, soul fragments, right? Balance will be restored. So it would stand to reason to say that when we do our healing work, when we bring more of ourselves into the present moment, healed and whole, that we see life differently. We perceive differently. We perceive from a place of wholeness. And that we have the ability, the opportunity to see life in all its beauty. And it's a good reminder that the living light energy is the frequency of love. And that the universe is already at the frequency of love. That when we get closer and closer to our original blueprint, that the sensing of that love frequency is there all the time, raising, maintaining that frequency of love so that we remember that we are whole and that we can reside in a unified field, the unified field of the universe. And we can consciously do this, right? Feels pretty powerful, doesn't it? Yep. Here we go. That's our message for this week. I think it's helping us to prepare, really, to prepare for that Mercury retrograde, and so that we can consciously tap into that energy so that we can reclaim, recollect, bring ourselves into more of a whole, attend to situations in our lives that need healing, so that we can see and be the beauty that's in life, right? Yeah, I think so. Jen is saying the light energy, the web of life connecting everything organic looks different. It flows, it glows, alive and harmonious. It's love. Exactly. I do too, Jen, so do I. Yeah, we're just going to show the name again. Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. Yeah, they're pretty good. I like them. Brand new. All right. So I wanted to remind you guys about something. Tonight is Polly Joe's show, Soul Connections. And in Soul Connections, Polly Joe, in that first half of the show, is all about healing. So if you're working on something or want to work on something, you might want to tap into that show tonight. Okay. What happens is that she creates the sacred space for us. She and her team hold that space for us. We bring in our individual intentions with our individual spiritual teams. Our team works with her team, and it can be a pretty powerful healing. Okay. And then the second half of the show, she does card draws. So if you enjoy a mini reading from her, that's in the second half of the show. That's tonight at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night is chakra sessions with Polly Joe at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And she is, what is she? I forgot what she's talking about. Um, I should know this. I don't remember. Shoot. All right. I'm going to have to send something out. I did this morning, and you think I'd remember? No. Rats. That's all right. Join her at 7 p.m. Because, chakra sessions, there's also meditation in that one too. But it really is around a very specific topic, whatever topic that she's speaking about. And that particular piece certainly is channeled work. She's bringing in information for us and also healing around it. So you can join her. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for being with me today for the Spiritual Roundtable, the weekly card draw for the group. And, I'm hoping it resonated with you. If it did, my suggestion is to embrace it and watch, sense, feel, see how the energy this week is flowing around you and where this information could be helpful. If it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all right. Maybe you're the messenger and you just get to send the link for the recorded show to a friend, right? Or there's always next week's card draw that you might be resonating with. Whatever that is, it's all good. It's all good. And so thank you so much for being with me today. And we'll see you next week for the Spiritual Roundtable, the card draw. And I'm your host, Neshi Locatz. Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.